Welcome back. The Australian 50-cent coin is more than just spare change. It's a collector's favorite with a rich history and bold design. From rare commemorative issues to low-minted years, some of these 12-sided coins are worth far more than you'd expect. Let's dive in and discover which Aussie 50-cent pieces could be worth big money. The 1998 Australia 50-cent coin, bearing a dodecagonal 12-sided shape and made of copper nickel, is part of Australia's long-running series of decimal coinage introduced in 1966. This particular year's coin features the familiar design of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse and the Australian coat of arms on the reverse. In your coin's case, the condition is described as black shaded, which likely indicates surface tarnishing, toning, or environmental discoloration due to circulation or improper storage. The obverse of the 1998 50-cent coin features the effigy of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Ian Rank Broadley. This was one of the first years this fourth official portrait of the Queen was used on Australian coins, replacing the previous Raphael Magloaf design that had been in use since 1985. Rank Broadley's portrayal is slightly more mature and realistic, showing the Queen facing right, wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. The inscription around the portrait reads, "Elizabeth to Australia 1998. On a black shaded or toned coin, the high points of this design, such as the Queen's profile and facial features, may be dulled or partially obscured. Though the overall image is typically still identifiable, the reverse side displays the Australian coat of arms, which includes a shield containing the badges of the 6 Australian states, supported by a kangaroo and an emu, native animals that symbolize progress and national identity. Above the shield is a 7-pointed Commonwealth star. The denomination 50 is placed beneath the design. The reverse was designed by Stuart Devlin, a prominent Australian artist and metalworker. Even with discoloration or black toning, the strong relief of the coat of arms usually makes the imagery fairly resilient to wear. In circulated condition, especially with black shading, the coin may show signs of oxidation or residue buildup. This type of toning doesn't usually impact the coin's structure or authenticity, though it may reduce visual appeal to some collectors. However, others may see it as an interesting sign of age or character. Some collectors actively seek toned coins for their uniqueness, depending on the pattern and color distribution of the toning. The 1998 50-cent coin is made of 75% copper and 25% nickel, and it weighs 15.55 grams. Its large size 31.65 millimeters across and distinctive 12-sided shape make it instantly recognizable among Australian currency. Because these coins are not silver, unlike the round 1966 version, they are generally only worth face value in circulated condition unless they are in exceptionally good shape, uncirculated, or part of a special mint set. From a historical perspective, the late 1990s were a relatively stable time for Australian currency, and 1998 was not marked by any significant numismatic changes or low mintages. Over 21 million 50-cent coins were minted in 1998, so the coin is considered common, and its value on the collector market is usually minimal unless it has a rare error or is in pristine condition. That said, every coin tells a story. A 1998 50-cent coin in black shaded condition likely passed through countless hands, participating in the everyday economic exchanges of Australia's population. The toning or discoloration might have been caused by environmental exposure such as moisture, air pollutants, improper storage, or even chemical reactions from being kept in certain types of holders or containers. For coin collectors, a coin could serve as a filler piece or part of a general circulated set. For those interested in cleaning coins, which is generally discouraged in numismatics as it can reduce value, it's worth noting that cleaning a black shaded coin may not fully restore its original luster and might leave behind scratches or change the surface chemistry of the coin. In conclusion, the 1998 Australian 50-cent coin with black shading remains a durable and distinctive piece of decimal currency. Though it may not hold high collector value in its current condition, It is a testament to the resilience and long-standing design of Australian coinage. As part of a broader collection, it adds historical depth and visual contrast, showing how age and circulation can shape the appearance of a coin over time. The 1982 Australia 50-cent coin, a staple of Australian decimal coinage, features the classic dodecagonal 12-sided shape and is composed of copper-nickel 75% copper and 25% nickel. This coin weighs 15.55 grams and has a diameter of 31.65 mm, making it one of the largest and most recognizable circulating coins in Australian currency. The coin in question is described as having some scratches, which suggests circulation were consistent with a coin that has been in use for an extended period. On the obverse, the coin features the third official portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machen. This effigy, used on Australian coins from 1966 until 1984, depicts the Queen facing right, wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. The surrounding legend reads, Elizabeth to Australia 1982. Despite some scratches, the major elements of this design, including the Queen's profile and the tiara, are typically still visible unless the coin is heavily worn or damaged. The reverse of the coin features the Australian coat of arms, designed by Stuart Devlin. The coat of arms is centered on the shield, which includes the badges of the 6 Australian states, supported by a kangaroo and an emu. Above the shield is the 7-pointed Commonwealth star, and beneath it is the denomination 50. This design is deeply struck, which means that even with surface scratches, much of the relief typically remains intact unless the coin has suffered extensive abrasion. 1982 was not a rare mintage year, with around 50.7 million of these 50-cent coins produced for general circulation. As such, these coins are common and generally do not hold significant numismatic value unless they are in uncirculated or proof condition, or if they exhibit a mint error. The mention of some scratches indicates that the coin has seen use in general circulation and may display minor surface marks from handling, contact with other coins, or storage in less than ideal conditions. Scratches can reduce a coin's eye appeal and slightly lower its value among collectors, but they do not render the coin worthless or uncollectible, especially in the case of a durable and still recognizable 50-cent piece like this. From a collector's perspective, this coin would typically be categorized as fine or very fine depending on the depth, visibility of the scratches, and the overall wear. In this grade, its market value remains close to face value or just slightly higher depending on demand. However, it remains a valid component for a circulated date set or educational display, especially for those collecting by year or seeking to preserve a physical piece of Australia's monetary history. The 1980 to 50-cent coin represents a period of stability in Australian coin design, with no major changes or commemorative issues released for this denomination that year. It was part of the ongoing post-decimalization coinage introduced in 1966, which replaced the Australian pound with the dollar and cent system. In summary, your 1982 Australia 50-cent coin, despite having some scratches, is a legitimate and collectible example of standard Australian currency. Its classic Devlin reverse and Machen obverse make it a key component of any collection focusing on 20th century Australian coins. While its condition limits its numismatic value, it retains historical and educational interest and illustrates how everyday currency wears and ages through circulation. The 1996 Australia 50-cent coin, described in good condition, is a standard circulation issue that holds both historical and collectible interest. Minted by the Royal Australian Mint, this coin is composed of copper-nickel 75% copper and 25% nickel, weighs approximately 15.55 grams, and measures 31.65 millimeters in diameter. Its distinct dodecagonal 12-sided shape makes it instantly recognizable, and it is a consistent feature of Australian 50-cent coins since 1969. The obverse of the 1996 50-cent coin features the fourth portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Ian Rank Broadley, introduced in 1998 for UK coinage and earlier adopted in Australia in 1999. This specific coin from 1996 still carries the third effigy of the Queen, designed by Raphael Maglev. In this design, the Queen is shown wearing the George IV state diadem, and the inscription reads, Elizabeth to Australia 1996. The detailing in the Queen's profile and diadem is generally sharp and easily visible on a coin in good condition, with only minor signs of wear expected on raised surfaces. The reverse side, designed by Stuart Devlin, showcases the Australian coat of arms. At the center is a shield bearing the symbols of Australia's 6 states. Supporting the shield are the national animals of Australia, the kangaroo and the emu. Above the shield sits the 7-pointed Commonwealth star, and below it is the large denomination marking, 50. The artistry and engraving on the reverse are typically durable, so in good condition. Most of the fine details in the animals, shield, and surrounding elements are likely still well preserved. 1996 was the standard mintage year for the 50-cent coin, with approximately 21.6 million coins struck for circulation. As such, this coin is not rare, and its value typically remains close to face value unless found in uncirculated or proof condition. However, it is still significant for collectors assembling a full-year set of Australian coins or studying changes in mint quality and design longevity. A coin in good condition usually retains much of its original design detail, though it may show slight circulation where such as light surface marks or a mild loss of luster. There should be no major dents, corrosion, or damage, and the coin should remain clear and legible on both sides. Minor nicks or light scratches are common even in well-kept circulated coins. The 1996 Australian 50-cent coin reflects the stability and consistency of Australian decimal coinage. The design remained unchanged for many years due to its national symbolism and public recognition. As with other standard 50-cent coins, the 1996 issue was not commemorative but maintained the design integrity first introduced in the post-decimal currency reforms of the 1960s. Although its collector value is modest unless in exceptional condition, the coin still holds historical and national significance. It represents a snapshot of Australia's monetary history in the mid-1990s and is a staple in many Australian coin collections. Collectors seeking a full run of circulated 50-cent pieces would consider the 1996 coin an essential, if common, entry in the series. In summary, your 1996 Australia 50-cent coin in good condition is a well-preserved example of modern Australian currency. Its traditional design, sturdy composition, and iconic imagery make it a worthy piece in any general collection. While it may not fetch a premium on the collector's market, it retains cultural and historical value and continues to symbolize the strength and recognizability of Australia's long-standing coin designs. The 2003 Australia 50-cent coin, noted to be in circulated condition, is part of Australia's standard decimal currency system and continues the long-standing design established for the denomination, struck by the Royal Australian Mint. This coin is made of copper nickel, 75% copper, 25% nickel, weighs 15.55 grams, and features a distinctive 12-sided dodecagonal shape. With a diameter of 31.65 millimeters, this shape and size have been consistent since the reintroduction of the larger 50-cent coin in 1969. The obverse of the 2003 coin features the fourth portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Ian Rank Broadley. In this depiction, Her Majesty is shown facing right, wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. The design is detailed, with sharper lines around the Queen's facial features and hair. The inscription surrounding the effigy reads Elizabeth to Australia 2003 in a circulated coin. You can expect moderate wear on the high points of the Queen's hair and face, with some possible smoothing in the tiara details. Nevertheless, the design should still be clearly visible and fully legible. On the reverse side, the coin bears the standard Stuart Devlin-designed Australian coat of arms, as it was not a commemorative year for this denomination. The coat of arms includes a shield at the center with representations of each Australian state. Supporting the shield are a kangaroo on the left and an emu on the right, Australia's national animals. A 7-pointed Commonwealth star appears above the shield, while the numeral 50 sits prominently below to indicate the denomination. Even in circulated condition, the deep relief of this design usually ensures that much of the detail, such as the feathers of the emu, the fur texture on the kangaroo, and the internal divisions of the shield, remain partially visible, albeit softened by circulation, where the 2003 50-cent coin had a mintage of approximately 11.8 million pieces, which is relatively moderate for this denomination. As such, the coin is not particularly rare, and examples in circulated condition typically hold little to no premium above face value. However, it remains a necessary component for collectors seeking a complete date set of Australia's decimal 50-cent coins, especially those documenting changes across monarch portraits or general wear patterns. A coin in circulated condition, like the one described, will show signs of having been used in everyday transactions. These signs include light to moderate scratches, small contact marks from other coins, and possible dulling of the original luster. While not suitable for high-end numismatic grading, it still serves well for educational purposes, basic collections, and historical interest. It also represents a period when Australian coinage was stable, with few design changes and consistent production standards. In 2003, Australia did not issue a commemorative 50-cent coin for circulation, so this standard design continued to be struck without special variation. That said, coins from this year do not feature errors or unique design traits that make them particularly valuable unless they exhibit striking anomalies, such as off-center strikes, double dies, or other minting defects, none of which are indicated here. To summarize, the 2003 Australia 50-cent coin in circulated condition is a typical and representative example of Australian decimal coinage in the early 21st century. While its market value may not exceed its face value, it holds collectible and educational worth as part of a complete year-by-year collection. Its familiar Devlin reverse and rank broadly obverse firmly place it within the ongoing legacy of stable, recognizable coin designs that have helped define Australian currency since decimalisation. The 1975 Australia 50-cent coin, described in circulated condition, is part of the standard decimal coinage system of Australia. This coin continues the use of the larger dodecagonal 12-sided format introduced in 1969 after the short-lived round silver 50-cent coin of 1966, made from copper-nickel 75% copper and 25% nickel. It weighs 15.55 grams and has a diameter of 31.65 millimeters, maintaining a distinctive shape and size easily recognized in hand and by touch. On the obverse of the 1975 50-cent coin is the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machen. This design, used from 1966 to 1984, depicts the Queen facing right, wearing the girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. The inscription reads Elizabeth to Australia 1975. In circulated condition, it's expected that the finer details of the Queen's hair, facial features, and tiara may show softening due to wear, especially on the high points, but the overall image should remain clearly identifiable. The reverse of the coin features the Australian coat of arms, as designed by Stuart Devlin. At the center of the coat of arms is a shield with 6 sections, each representing one of Australia's states. Above the shield is the 7-pointed Commonwealth star. Supporting the shield are a kangaroo on the left and an emu on the right, to native animals, symbolizing forward movement. Below this emblem appears the large numeral 50 to indicate the denomination. Despite general wear from circulation, this deep relief design tends to retain most of its elements, even if some texture details on the kangaroo's fur or the emu's feathers are dulled. The edges of the shield and the outlines of the animals should still be discernible unless the coin is heavily worn. The mintage for the 1975 Australian 50-cent coin was approximately 20.89 million, making it one of the more common issues of that decade. Given its high mintage and standard design, the coin does not carry significant numismatic value in circulated condition. Typically, such a coin might trade or sell for around its face value, or slightly more to collectors who are assembling a complete year set of Australian decimal coinage. In circulated condition, a 1975 coin will likely show moderate signs of wear, abrasions from handling, contact marks from other coins, and the general loss of any original mint luster. Discoloration from oxidation or mild tarnishing is also common in coins of this age, especially those that were in active use for years. However, unless it is heavily damaged or corroded, the coin still serves well as a collectible, particularly for those interested in historical or date-specific collections of Australian coinage. While this coin has no known rare variant or major errors commonly associated with its year, individual examples may be of special interest if they feature off-center strikes, die cracks, or other unusual minting anomalies. However, these are rare and must be evaluated on a case-by-case basis. Overall, the 1975 Australia 50-cent coin is a solid representation of the country's post-decimal coinage period. It reflects the stability and consistency of Australian coin designs during the 1970s, where the emphasis remained on national symbols and formal representations of the monarchy. Though not rare or particularly valuable in monetary terms, this coin remains a tangible piece of Australia's numismatic heritage, and in circulated condition, it serves well for both collectors seeking completeness and individuals with an interest in historical accuracy.